As Biftu alluded to, we've got the one and only James. So much of what I've shared about Biftu, I could also say about James as well, in terms of his heart for young people in STEM and mentoring. I've heard of so many people that you've practically helped to get jobs within the industry. Just last week, to be fair, one of the guy's sons that you got into Mercedes and you mentored him through the process, which is super phenomenal. So congratulations to James for that and all the work that he's been doing so far. And I guess over the last decade or so, I would say probably 13 years or over, he's been working in the automotive and motorsport industry as well, just like Biftu, places like Haas F1, McLaren, again, the name's popping up, and Mercedes F1. And for a lot of the, has anyone seen that video of the Formula One car racing the jet? Has anyone seen that on socials? So James would have been there supporting that operation to make sure the electronics, I guess, on and off track are basically where they should be. So when Lewis Hamilton was racing that car, he's essentially supporting those systems to make sure that they're as best as they can be. And I guess at the heart of everything, he's been D&I champion, won a few awards, I'm gonna name one or two. So the Empower Top 100 Future Leader Role Models 2023. Nikkei, you can probably add some more from me as well. Got a little cheeky letter from the Prime Minister, Richie. You know, there's a lot of different people who have different feelings, but for the most part, it's super impressive. So you got a letter through the post recently for a Points of Light Award, which the Prime Minister essentially recognizes a few people that have made an impact, and James is one of them. So I can say a lot, but we welcome James.
How's everyone doing this afternoon? All good? Enjoying the fantastic speakers that we have? Absolutely phenomenal. So I'm basically going to take you through my life journey, start off with where I am with Driven by Us, how I got there, and also take you through the career journey that I've had from automotive to motorsports to Formula One. So currently, my name is obviously James Dornor. I'm Principal Systems Engineer and the founder of Driven by Us. Previously an engineer working at Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One team. So while I was at Mercedes, I was responsible for the on and off car systems for the heritage cars, so dating back from 2022 back to 2013. So these would have been all the cars driven by Sir Lewis Hamilton, the likes of Nico Rosberg, Valtteri Bottas, George Russell, just to name a few drivers. And we were working as a team to ensure the cars were in tip-top shape for demonstrations or activities on track, as George mentioned. One of the recent activities we did was racing a jet over in America, which was phenomenal, which the whole team really, really loved and really enjoyed. Anyone have a guess which one? The jet. But the initial getaway. The Formula One car. The Formula One car to start, and then Jet came and took over. So, as mentioned, I'm the founder of Driven by Us. We are primarily a community interest company. However, we're also a club within Motorsport UK. We're the first ethnic minority-led club. Yes, it's 2023. Can't believe that. First ethnic minority-led club to support ethnic minorities and women of colour in particular to access motorsports with the focus of STEM. So we focus on grassroots and then personnel working within Formula One. So we created that safe space for everyone to network amongst the community, those who don't necessarily have the support network. We are that support network. We bring everyone together. I think we have a membership of how much, George? Over 60. We're nearly up to 70 members since we started. We started officially in April 2023. So we've been building for a year behind the scenes, and we've got it going with Nikkei's blessing. It's been fantastic to have the support from AFBE. So, a little bit about our objective. What our objective is to basically run courses, programs, events in schools in specifically deprived areas in the UK. So those areas that don't have access to STEM, and our focus is motorsports. So we give the students, the children, an insight into motorsports through STEM activities that we've created, delivering it to the deprived areas around the UK. So we have a focus of schools in London, we have a focus of schools in the Midlands, we have a focus of schools in the southwest of England. As you can imagine, people in the southwest of England don't necessarily have access to motorsports because it's quite far out from all the urban hotspots that you would have motorsport venues at. So we go there, put on activities in the classroom, and also have the ability to take students through our partners to indoor, outdoor karting locations, as well as other activities in terms of tours around facilities with motorsport organisations. So the mission is simple for us. What we're trying to do is basically just share inspiring stories, bring the next generation through, provide that support network for those currently working in the industry, and also spotlight and showcase what is possible through the talented individuals we have. We have the first female who's stepped on the podium in F1 in Stephanie Travers. We have George, who's doing fantastic work with his own organisation, as well as everything else that he does that I cannot keep up with. A lot of inspiration people who are making a difference. We have Bifdu involved, who's doing phenomenal things. We have Danielle involved as well, who's here supporting. So a lot of us in the community doing great things in our own respect, coming together as a community. But I'll take you back to how it started, so bear with me. I'm going to go through my whole life story, hopefully a lot of relatable content, some which has been mentioned already by everyone, but yeah, hopefully kind of carry that message across of perseverance and believing in yourself and you doing what you want to do, whether it's in STEM or other careers. So you see a picture to the left, or to the right of me. This was me 1 day old. I was born in Harrow, Norfolk Park Hospital. Anyone from North West London? Woo! So I was born in Harrow. I was born 24 weeks. Is that right? My sister's in the crowd. Yep, so 24 weeks. So that was taken after my, 1 day old. So as you can see, I was in ICU, lots of tubes, broken leg, broken arm, and I think I was there for quite a long time, wasn't I? Fortunately, no defects other than slightly deaf in my left ear. Yeah. So that was me born and how I've come about now. So next picture was outside our first family home, again in northwest London, Willstone. So that was myself and my sister and one of our aunties. So good times, good memories. But that was the change in a life event, which was unfortunate, but it happens. Hopefully, a lot of relatable items which people can see. So obviously, I mentioned I was born 24 weeks, 50% survival rate. Spent quite a long time there. I was the last of four, so the youngest. Even though I'm the youngest, I don't feel the youngest. I feel really old. And before my 7th birthday, my father passed away, and that was quite a difficult time. So I didn't know what was going on. We were moving from council house to council house. I still remember to this day, moving to, was it a hotel in Willston Green? We had to get on a train from Willston Green in the rain all the way to Harrow, and I was not enjoying it. I didn't know what was going on. There was so much happening, and it wasn't an enjoyable time. But obviously, we were able to, after several years, I think it was the year 2000s, we were able to finally settle in, again, a different part of Harrow. And from there, I was able to kind of support myself, support the family, and have influence from a network around me. So one of those key influences was my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. At the time, I didn't really know what his job was. So it took me until my early 20s to kind of understand what he did. So he's actually a telecommunications engineer, but I thought he just climbed telegraph poles and fixed them, which I still find absolutely insane because they're really, really high, really, really dangerous. So I'm always concerned about when he's going up from those telegraph poles. So yeah, he kind of supported myself, giving me that ability to kind of, I can be what I want to be, whether it's kind of in education or if it's in career or supporting others. So taking you to GCSEs, I actually failed my English and Maths GCSEs. I had to redo them at college. So while at college, I had to do my vocational course. So I did a vocational course in science. It was an AVC, I think they called them, do they still do BTECs now and NVQs? So similar kind of format to that while doing an AS in IT. So after redoing my GCSEs and obtaining the grades to go to university in the A-levels, there's a bit of a trend going on here. Unfortunately, I didn't get straight into university. I had to do a foundation degree. So it's a case of applying to universities that would able to do foundation degrees. And I think now they're quite rare. So finding a good university which kind of does the foundation degrees is quite hard. I went to Coventry University. And I was fortunate to kind of have that network to kind of do the foundation degree and progress onto the main course. And while I was going through my mind and reflecting on how I've got to this place so far, I would always have been embarrassed to say, oh, I did a foundation degree because I wasn't good enough to go straight onto the main course. Oh, I didn't pass my English and maths previously. That wouldn't be something that I would have said, but it shows the resilience and shows how you can become stronger from maybe setbacks, maybe failures, and maybe not the route that you see yourself going towards. So it's hopefully some relatable items that if you don't succeed, you can try again, you can do better, and you can get to where you want to go, whether it takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. As long as you have that long-term vision in your mind and where you want to go in your career, you can definitely achieve it. So, moving to a placement year, again, a common theme. I did 50 applications in 2009, and it was really, really hard, lots of rejections, lots of, I think my sister remembers, lots of hard times in terms of, oh, I'm not good enough to kind of do a placement year. It was recession time as well. I was one of two to get placement. So a lot of my friends studying the course went on to do final year, whereas I went on to do a placement year, which was fantastic. It was a great opportunity. I was a reliability engineer working on the mini cars in BMW in Oxford. So I was responsible for the internal, external fleet of vehicles, which would go out to internal customers as well as external customers, finding faults, reporting them back to the senior engineers of various function groups. I then came back to my final year. My lecturer who taught me mechanical engineering, or the module, and also my tutor, Mr. William Dunn, he put myself forward for a 2 weeks work experience at McLaren Automotive. So this was in a cold rain. I remember, again, going to Woking, getting a £40 hotel, a really, really cold winter time, and just trying to impress them as much as possible, finding faults on the vehicle prototype cars, the pre-production cars, and again, feeding back to the senior engineers. So this was kind of my way into the automotive industry. I didn't really think it would lead to kind of a full-time role in McLaren, which was the case. So I was made full-time in 2011 when I graduated. I was responsible for the press and marketing cars, ensuring the vehicle calibration was okay and working as it should, and going over to various locations around the UK, making sure the cars performed as they should. So it was a really, really cool role. So while I was there, I was kind of like, okay, I'm here at McLaren Automotive. How do I go from McLaren Automotive to F1? Because everyone wants to go to F1, everyone wants to go to motorsports. And I was told several times, oh, you don't go to motorsports. People are like, you don't go to automotive to F1. It just doesn't happen. But I didn't let that deter me. I was kind of set out a path to kind of network, staying late, meeting the engineers, meeting the driver testers that would test the automotive cars, which would then feed back information to the F1 cars as well. So it was kind of working the network and seeing how I can utilize my time there to kind of get to the end goal of being an engineer in Formula One. That didn't happen straight away. I went off to McLaren GT to be lead development engineer on the GT Sprint car. So this was a car which we took from a road car format and changed into a track-only car. I think Ella's in the background there. She can probably vouch for McLaren and the fantastic things that they're doing. And the fact that I was able to lead that project showed that there was a lot of belief in myself and my skills and my ability. I was then able to learn about GT racing sports cars, which is a form of motorsports. Again, everyone only sees Formula One, but there's loads of range of motorsports. You can have low-level single-seaters. You can have GT sports cars, which is basically a road car converted into a race car, and there's championships all around the world. So I supported the systems for those customer teams up and down the UK, and it was a brilliant, brilliant time. I then kind of had a point of realization that I wasn't able to progress at McLaren GT to go to Formula One directly. So what I did was I applied to go to Haas F1. I was then, again, didn't expect to get the position, didn't know anyone in F1 at the time. So I was able to apply, successfully do the interview. I remember doing the interview, speaking to Gunther Steiner while I was in America in the back of a race truck, which was really, really surreal because I was working while doing an interview, which just does not happen. Yeah, they called me back later that month and offered me the position, which I did. I was then trackside for Kevin Magnussen. So you see the engineers at the back on the laptop. So I was one of those engineers reading, making sure the cars were okay and working as they should. I then translated that into working back at McLaren Racing as a system support engineer, working at the factory, working in mission control, which is an area where the 32 engineers that don't go trackside sit in a room and feed information back to the track. And then, again, seeing a new role appear at Mercedes, a dream of mine working with Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Didn't think it would be possible, applied for the role, and I was successful. So looking after all the heritage cars in the fleet and making sure that they were okay going out to demonstrations. And now recently I've left Mercedes to lead Driven by Us, again, focus on the community, focus on those who don't necessarily have access into motorsports and automotive, forming that network, creating that safe space and providing programs and events for grassroots and those up and coming for the next generation. And here's a little visual of my career to date. So my time at BMW, looking after the reliability fleet, working at McLaren Automotive. You've got Jenson Button there, who was a F1 driver. That was back in 2010. Working with McLaren GT between 2012 and 2017, and joining Haas F1 at the end of 2017, before going back to McLaren Racing. You see Lando Norris, he still drives for McLaren Racing team, as well as doing activities in terms of testing with the team. I was also at the factory. Below you'll see an image where Sky Sports actually came to the factory, and this is the mission control area I was talking about, where you have the engineers sitting and looking at the screens, feeding back information to the trackside team. And then the final picture was myself at Mercedes at Goodwood Festival of Speed. So how it started, 2009, this was a free event. This is myself, a really young looking myself, and Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton, a really bad photo. This was kind of my first instance of, okay, how am I going to go from not working, but realizing I can work in motorsports to get to motorsports and go to F1 and perhaps one day work with Lewis Hamilton. This was how it's going. So going into schools, giving talks, my STEM ambassador work, what we do through Driven by Us, and what Dr. Nike has helped so much with in my life as a coach, provide that mentorship and next generational program to the up and coming. This was the event that George was talking about over in America, where we raced a plane, which was really, really cool. And then how it's going now since leaving. Oh, no, sorry, this is the last photo. So this is the photo of us with the jet, which was really, really cool. As you can see, 2009 to, well, that was 2021. A really, really cool time, racing a jet, working with Lewis Hamilton, from it being a dream to it being reality. And then how it's going now. So forming a community, Driven by Us, we have lots of personnel in the community working, or being involved with us, delivering the role models and the next generational programs for those who want to work in the industry, and being that, like Mo said, that lighthouse that everyone gravitates towards. So that is us, is Driven by Us. In terms of takeaways, what I can recommend is definitely mentorship. Mentoring has been fantastic for myself and my progression, and for those who need the support, a coach that can kind of big you up and support you and guide you on your journey, and someone who will advocate for you. So those three things in your professional career or your academia career, definitely I would recommend try and find those three people that can carry you and support you through your life journey. As you can see, it's all about hard work and how you see yourself in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. As long as you get there, it's fantastic. And then once you do get there, change the goal, make it different. As you can see, I've done the whole motorsports 13 years. I've done it. Now I'm about giving back to the community, to those who need it. There is a space there. The fact that we've been recognised by the Prime Minister and a lot of other people since we've started, which is fairly recently, although building in background, is proof that we're onto something special and the community needs it. So that is Driven by Us.